finished the broadcast that I do on the Manning Report, just said my salutation for the evening, and someone knocked on the door and told me that the Homeland Security was in the building and they wanted to speak to me. Well, I was in a different part of the building, so I said, all right, okay, bring them up. What am I going to do? They're here. They came up, two members of Homeland Security who identified themselves as CIA agents, and I thought that was interesting. I thought that would be for foreign intrigue or foreign concerns. And then they said also we're part of Homeland Security. They also had with them two members who were detectives of the 28th Precinct, New York City Police Department. But the detectives that they had were part of the riot control. I know those two detectives because I've worked in this community for quite some time. They knew me. Outside of the building were other Homeland Security officers, whether Secret Service or CIA, and other riot police flanking the building. Now, I've never said anything that indicated that I'm against violence or that I'm for violence, rather, or that I would respond violently. I've never indicated that in anything that I've said since I've been talking about Obama or preaching or anything else. They came prepared for violence. They came into my study and stated they wanted to talk to me. And I asked them, okay, well, what does he want to talk about? They pointed out that I stated in one of the video postings a week or so ago, and I addressed the Tea Party people, telling them how futile it was running around doing what they were doing because they were getting nowhere. And if they spent the money and energy that they spent on the birth certificate issue, his eligibility, they could get somewhere, and then we could finally bring him to trial, and we could find him guilty of treason and execute him and shoot him. That's what I said. And they then responded to me by saying, are you saying shoot the president? I then asked them if I was under arrest, and they said no. Then I said, I have nothing further to say to you if I'm not under arrest. They said they got up and they left. One fellow left his card, the part of the Homeland Security group. They walked out. I haven't seen hide nor hair of them since. I do expect, however, to be arrested. I mean, I've thought about this. I've prayed about it. I've looked at it carefully. And I'm sure that what they're doing simply was to test the waters. And not so much, they know who I am. They've studied everything I've said. I have not advocated the overthrow of the government. I've not advocated violence towards the government. Indeed, I've advocated the upholding of the Constitution. I think what they were doing, and I'm clear about it now, is they want to see what kind of support I have and how would the American people respond to arrest. I believe the people that have been visited by the Secret Service, Homeland Security, all are going to be arrested shortly. Well, not shortly, but tomorrow, I mean. But in due course, if you've been visited by the Secret Service under the Obama administration, except we remove him from office, you're going to be arrested. They're not dumb, the Secret Service Department. They test once that you go on their blacklist or their enemies list or Obama's enemies list. They come and test you. They come and test a response. They come and test their case against you. But they've already made the decision. You're going to be arrested. It's going to happen. Either that or they're going to assassinate you.
Well, to be clear, I had not seen the video you're discussing in question, and I know that you've never called for any violence. Specifically, you're saying through a judicial process, if anyone was found guilty of treason or high treason, we know what the penalties are under federal law. My issue, Pastor Manning, and I don't believe you threatened the president, and I believe it was your First Amendment right to say that. My issue is, if anything ever happened to Obama, they would turn him into a martyr, a saint, when he is a larger front for the overall New World Order. I know from your research you believe he is even more evil and more powerful than that. Maybe you're right. He is very charismatic and very slick and is certainly the 2.0 of New World Order puppet. But I certainly hope that the Secret Service doesn't come and arrest you, because you've stated you're not calling for violence. You're calling for...
That's what what I have done repeatedly, I've appealed to all Americans far and wide, please protect this man's life. Do him no harm. The worst thing that could happen, in my view, is for someone to assassinate him. There are two reasons why. Number one is that we would probably never get the opportunity to demonstrate his ineligibility and the fraud that he has perpetrated on this nation or the people that have put him up to it. But even more important than that, he would be turned instantly into a martyr. He would be more popular and powerful than Jesus. He's already more popular and powerful than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Don't kill this man. I've said that repeatedly over and over again. I need him alive. I want him to live.
And I have heard you say that repeatedly, so we're on the same page there. Then, well, you were smart not to talk to them there on their fishing expedition, but the way you describe them coming in force is very, very concerning. You know, my issue is the few times they've been here, they always claim that they're here for one reason, but then they start bringing up other issues and asking me my views on the president and asking me my views on my listeners and, probing and then calling my employees, not just coming, but calling random extensions and asking my employees things about my operation, about our servers, about our websites. And I just wonder how they get so many men to willfully engage in Nazi or /Soviet or Maoist tactics. I mean, that's very un-American to have political police or commissars like they had in Russia creeping around. And I certainly hope that your discernment's wrong, but I know you do have, I do respect you and respect your discernment.
Alex, the riot control police officer who is in charge of community affairs here in the Harlem area, I know him. We've had to interact with him on several issues regarding our school. Not that there's violence, but community meetings to help make the community safer. So he's involved in reaching out to pastors and clergy with them. So I know him well. When they all came in, when I heard that when Homeland Security was downstairs, I immediately thought I was going to be arrested, and I was cornered. The only thing I had as for a defense was to look them in the eye to see what I could instantly read even before they spoke to me. The Homeland Security leader, spokesperson, came in first, through the door first, followed by the second Homeland Security person who identified themselves as CIA agents. I'm still concerned about that. Then after
I'm sure they were. They did that to terrorize you.
Yeah, I would think that would be a foreign concern. But anyway,
it's illegal. It's illegal, but they still do it.
Yeah.
Governor Jesse Ventura, 2 weeks into office, was told there's people waiting for you in the basement. 25 CIA agents wouldn't even tell him his name. They were just there bossing him around.
It was intimidating. I mean, when they said CIA, I mean, that'll be the last thing. FBI, okay, I can handle that. It was intimidating. It shook me for just a moment. The two detectives that walked in, I tried to look them in the eye. They looked down. They looked everywhere except they would not look at me. And I'm thinking to myself, how can these men come to this church after they watched me all these years? They know my track record in this community with such riotous ideas, flanking this church, preparing, and maybe they thought they could provoke me into something and start a fight. I mean, have several employees here, have several people, just milling, just in the building, as it's a church, and we're active every day, 24/7. Maybe they thought they could provoke a riot or something here. I don't know what they were thinking, but I can tell you this. I know they're coming back. I know that they are. Even though it may be some time, they will be back.
Well, sir, we have contact